In this video, I'm going to explain all of the task, work, effort options. At the top here, you'll see auto-populate work from a duration when work is not set. That means if you haven't given the amount of effort the task needs to have yet, and you put in a task for, say, 1 day, it'll auto-populate 8 hours for the effort for that day. The second setting here, round the auto-approved work to the nearest hour. That will make sure that any auto-populated value is rounded to the nearest hour. You won't see something like 4.25. It would round that to 4. Or 4.75 would round to 5 hours. The third option here is the input default hours per day. So the default is 8. So 1 day is 8 hours. If you put 4 in here, then if you put a 1 day task in and there's no work set yet, then 4 hours will be added to the task. If this were 2 here, then 1 day would add 2 hours. If you had a 2 day task, it would add 4 hours, or it would populate for 4 hours. So it won't add work, but it will pre-populate with 4 hours. And now this number is used for the reverse calculation as well. So this next setting here is auto-populate duration from work. Normally these two are set together at the same time. That way, if you put in, let's say, 8 hours of effort, then with this setting here and this setting to auto-populate, the program will automatically make the task 4 days long. So they have 4 days to complete the 8 hours of work. If this, again, were 8, or you leave it blank and default, and you put an 8-hour task in, then you would have a 1 day task duration getting pre-populated. If you put 16 hours in, it would be 2 days of pre-population. But if you change this factor here to say 1 day is 4 hours, then an 8-hour task would put in one day of work. Down here, you'll see another option. These are default off. All of these second level are default off here. But this will round the auto-populated duration up to the nearest whole day. So this is there in case if you put an amount of effort in that would lead to a like 1.5 days of duration, it'll round up to 2. Or if it was 1.2 days of duration, it'll round up to 2 as well. This is always rounding up to the nearest whole day. Actually, this one down here is what that is. Oh no, that's on the auto-populate. The next one is always round the duration up to the nearest whole day regardless of input. That means that if you set this on, if you enter 1.5 by yourself, meaning it wasn't coming from the hours, then it'll automatically keep your durations into the whole days. So you can't, with this on, you just can't even put in a non-whole day duration. These next two settings here is the task input default duration. That means that if a task is new and it's created and no duration is supplied, if you have 1 day here, then the task would get 1 day. If you do supply a duration, then this is not relevant. Meaning that you could put in 0 days and that'll take that, or you could put in 1.2 days or 1.5 days like this. I'm going to say you'd put that into the task, then this is irrelevant. But if you don't supply any kind of duration and you don't have anything auto-populated, then you'll get a default duration for a task. It's usually 0 days because we want you to fill in how much time the task should take. The next setting here is in minimum days. So in this case, if I say the minimum is 1 day, then no matter what, if you put in to a task 0.5 days, it'll make it 1 day. So there's nothing allowed to be underneath that minimum on a task. Now these two settings do not apply to summary tasks because those are calculated, but these would apply to any regular task. And then the last here as well, calculate level of effort when assigning resources to summary tasks. This is default off. And what this means is that if you put a person on a summary, programs like Microsoft Project will assume that that person's working at a proportional level of the summary task. Say 10% of their time applies to the whole duration of the summary. A lot of times you don't really want this. If you're going to put effort on a summary, you really should put how many hours it really is. This is default off, meaning you can assign someone to a summary task, but no effort will be applied because summaries are calculated. But that's what this would allow you to do. If you turn this on, it'll behave kind of like what Microsoft Project does. You would say, I'm putting so-and-so on the task at 100%. Then basically for the entire duration of that summary, they would be getting 8 hours a day for that whole amount if you put in level of effort checked on and for the whole duration. Now you'll notice here this is the default setting for the system, for the add-on itself. These values are the same on the project. This video is shared with the project. So if you do not see the apply to all projects, that means you're applying it to the specific project you're on. If you do see apply to all projects and you check that box, this will force this setting down to every active project that's in the system right now.